The news spread like wildfire, leaving millions in shock and disbelief. From the outside looking in, Matthew Perry seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, and the adoration of millions. Yet, behind the megawatt smile and the self-deprecating humor, a battle was being waged. A battle against the insidious grip of addiction. Perry's struggles with substance abuse were no secret. Matthew Perry's struggle with addiction began long before the bright lights of Hollywood beckoned. It started subtly, insidiously during his teenage years, with alcohol offering solace and escape from the pressures of a young life. In the midst of his struggle, Matthew Perry made a promise to himself and to his legions of fans. He vowed to use his platform, his voice, to shed light on the often misunderstood reality of addiction. Despite his best efforts, the specter of relapse loomed large over Matthew Perry's life. There were periods of sobriety, times when the light seemed to break through the darkness, offering a glimpse of the life he so desperately craved. In the quest to find lasting solace from the throes of addiction and the relentless grip of depression, Matthew Perry's journey took an unexpected turn. He turned to ketamine, a drug increasingly touted for its potential to alleviate severe depression and chronic pain. Initially, ketamine seemed to offer Perry a reprieve from his mental anguish. The drug, administered under strict medical supervision, provided a temporary escape from the depths of his depression. What began as a carefully controlled medical treatment gradually spiraled into a dangerous pattern of dependence. The frequency of ketamine infusions increased, the doses escalated, and the line between therapeutic use and abuse became blurred. The days leading up to Matthew Perry's death were a blur of escalating ketamine use, a desperate attempt to outrun the demons that relentlessly pursued him. The once bright spark that had endeared him to millions had dwindled to a flicker, his once vibrant spirit dulled by the constant influx of the powerful drug. On a somber day in May 2023, the world received the devastating news. Matthew Perry had been found dead in his Los Angeles home. The news sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond, leaving millions grappling with the loss of a comedic icon, a beloved figure who had brought laughter into their lives. In the wake of Matthew Perry's death, an investigation was launched to determine the cause. The autopsy report painted a grim picture. Perry had died from an overdose of ketamine, the drug that had initially promised solace but ultimately led to his demise. As the investigation into Matthew Perry's death deepened, a sinister picture began to emerge. Perry's access to ketamine, investigators discovered, stemmed not from a legitimate medical source, but from a shadowy network operating just outside the bounds of the law. The investigation, aided by financial records, phone conversations, and witness testimonies, gradually exposed the inner workings of the ketamine ring. It became horrifyingly clear that Perry, desperate for relief from his mental anguish, had become entangled in a web of deceit, preyed upon by individuals who saw him not as a human being, but as a cash cow. The investigation culminated in a series of arrests that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and the medical community. The ketamine queen, along with her network of enablers, including Perry's personal assistant and several medical professionals, were apprehended and charged with a slew of offenses, ranging from drug trafficking and distribution to manslaughter. At the heart of Matthew Perry's tragic demise lies a profound betrayal of trust. a betrayal of the sacred oath sworn by medical professionals to do no harm. The very individuals entrusted with his care, those who should have been safeguarding his well-being, instead played a role in his downfall. Perry's case, while shocking in its brazenness, exposed a deeply troubling reality within the medical system, a system where the potential for exploitation and abuse runs rampant. The pressure to generate revenue, coupled with a lack of adequate oversight, creates fertile ground for unethical behavior to flourish. The medical professionals involved in Perry's case were not acting in isolation. Their actions were enabled by a culture of silence, a reluctance to speak out against colleagues, even when their behavior raised red flags. Section 18. Restoring trust, a call for reform and redemption. The erosion of trust in the medical profession, fueled by cases like Perry's, has far-reaching consequences. Patients already vulnerable due to their health conditions may hesitate to seek treatment, fearing exploitation or mistreatment. The consequences of such distrust can be devastating, leading to untreated conditions, worsening health outcomes, and even preventable deaths. Restoring trust requires a multifaceted approach. Strengthening regulations surrounding the prescription of addictive drugs, increasing oversight of medical professionals, and holding those who abuse their positions accountable are all essential steps. Equally important is addressing the root causes of addiction, expanding access to mental health care, providing support for individuals struggling with substance abuse, and challenging the stigma that prevents people from seeking help. Only through comprehensive reform and a renewed commitment to ethical conduct can we hope to rebuild trust in the medical profession and prevent future tragedies. Section 19. Ketamine, a two-sided coin. Ketamine, a powerful anesthetic with a long history in medicine, has emerged in recent years as a potential treatment for severe depression and chronic pain. Its ability to induce a dissociative state, temporarily disconnecting individuals from reality, has shown promise in alleviating the debilitating symptoms of these conditions. However, this very property that makes ketamine a potential lifesaver also makes it a dangerous drug when abused. The euphoric dissociative effects of ketamine can be highly addictive, particularly for individuals already struggling with substance abuse or mental health issues. The use of ketamine outside of a controlled medical setting, without proper dosage regulation and medical supervision, is fraught with risks. The drug can cause a range of adverse effects, including hallucinations, memory loss, bladder problems, and cardiovascular complications. Section 20. The slippery slope of ketamine addiction. Ketamine addiction, like any addiction, develops gradually, often insidiously. What begins as an attempt to find relief from emotional or physical pain can quickly spiral into a compulsive need for the drug's effects. As the body develops a tolerance to ketamine, higher doses are required to achieve the desired effects. This escalating pattern of use increases the risk of overdose and long-term health complications. Ketamine addiction often goes undetected, masked by the secrecy and shame associated with substance abuse. Individuals struggling with ketamine addiction may withdraw from loved ones, neglect their responsibilities, and experience mood swings, paranoia, and cognitive impairment. Section 21. The physical and psychological toll of ketamine abuse. The prolonged abuse of ketamine takes a heavy toll on both the body and the mind. Physically, ketamine can damage the bladder, leading to painful urination, frequent urinary tract infections, and even bladder removal in severe cases. It can also cause cardiovascular problems, such as high blood pressure, arrhythmia, and an increased risk of heart attack or stroke. The cognitive effects of ketamine abuse are equally devastating. Chronic use can lead to memory impairment, difficulty concentrating, impaired judgment, and an increased risk of accidents and injuries. Section 22. Breaking the cycle, seeking help for ketamine addiction. Overcoming ketamine addiction requires professional help and a multifaceted approach that addresses both the physical and psychological aspects of the disease. Detoxification, typically conducted in a hospital or residential treatment center, helps manage withdrawal symptoms and ensures a safe and medically supervised process. Following detoxification therapy, both individual and group, is essential to addressing the underlying issues that contributed to the addiction. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can help individuals identify and modify negative thought patterns and behaviors associated with drug use. Support groups such as Narcotics Anonymous provide a safe and supportive environment for individuals in recovery to connect with others who understand their struggles and share their experiences. Section 23. The illusion of immunity. Fame offers no escape. Matthew Perry's death, a tragic echo of countless lives lost to addiction, shattered the illusion that fame and fortune offer immunity from life's darkest struggles. It served as a stark reminder that behind the glittering facade of celebrity, behind the red carpets and the adoring fans, lies the same human fragility, the same susceptibility to pain, despair, and the insidious allure of addiction. Perry, despite having access to the best resources, the finest medical care, and a support system many could only dream of, ultimately succumbed to the disease that had haunted him for years. His death underscored the indiscriminate nature of addiction, its ability to cut across socio-economic lines, to penetrate even the most seemingly charmed lives. It shattered the misconception that addiction is a choice, a moral failing, a weakness of character. Recognizing the signs, breaking the silence. Perry's passing ignited a global conversation about recognizing addiction signs and breaking the stigma. It highlighted the need for open dialogue about substance abuse, moving beyond judgment to empathy and support. Signs of addiction can be subtle, masked by denial and secrecy. Changes in behavior, withdrawal, mood swings, and physical changes are red flags. Early intervention is crucial. The sooner addiction is addressed, the greater the chances of recovery. The world mourns a comic icon. The news of Matthew Perry's passing triggered an outpouring of grief from fans and fellow entertainers. Social media platforms were flooded with tributes and memories. His friends' co-stars released a joint statement expressing their profound sadness. They described Perry as a beloved brother and a gifted comedian. His laugh had echoed through countless living rooms, bringing joy to generations. Ordinary people mourned the loss of someone who had become a part of their lives. Section 26. A legacy of laughter, a catalyst for change. While Matthew Perry will forever be remembered for his comedic genius, his legacy extends far beyond the laughter he inspired. His willingness to speak openly about his struggles with addiction, to shed light on the darkness that often accompanies fame and fortune, has left an indelible mark on the world. Perry's candor, his refusal to shy away from the difficult conversations, helped to destigmatize addiction, to challenge the misconceptions that often prevent individuals from seeking help. He showed the world that addiction does not discriminate, that it can afflict anyone regardless of their background, their success, or their outward appearance of having it all together. His story, in all its complexity and heartbreak, has served as a wake-up call, a reminder that beneath the surface of even the most seemingly charmed lives, silent battles are often being waged. It has sparked conversations, raised awareness, and encouraged empathy for those struggling with addiction, fostering a greater understanding of the disease and the urgent need for expanded access to treatment and support. Saying goodbye to Chandler, remembering Matthew, the world said goodbye to Matthew Perry, mourning the loss of a comedic icon. Chandler Bing, the lovable goofball, will forever hold a special place in our memories. Cherish the laughter, the memories, and the man behind the character. Remember his struggles, his honesty, his courage. Section 28, continuing the conversation, honoring a life lost, inspiring a legacy of hope. Matthew Perry's passing is a stark reminder of the devastating impact of addiction. It underscores the urgent need for greater awareness and access to treatment. His death can serve as a catalyst for change. Let us honor Matthew Perry's memory by turning our grief into action. Let us support organizations dedicated to combating addiction. Let us work together to create a world where addiction is met with compassion.